Thank you for joining us on Season 3, Episode 8 of Adventures in Fly Tying. I'm your host, Joe Cornwall. Welcome to another episode of our almost monthly Adventures in Fly Tying. We've got a really neat pattern for you today. This little guy is called the Diawl Bach. That's Gaelic or Irish, and it translates loosely, or I guess literally, into Little Devil. Very simple pattern using a brown hen tail and a hen beard, a peacock herl body, ribbed with a little bit of copper wire, and the characteristic signature red head of the Diawl Bach. This is a pattern that, as you might have guessed, comes from the continent, really is a European pattern, is typically fished in sizes 8 to about 14, but here in the United States you can tie this all the way down to about a size 18. It's a great little wet fly. This is an awesome fly to fish when you're just prospecting for trout, down and across swing, or simple deep drift, high stick type method. It's a variation of a nymph. It's just a good utility pattern. Let's go ahead and tie one. Very, very easy pattern to tie. I'm going to be using a Mustad 3906B. This is a wet fly hook. It's a 1XL hook in size 12. Once again, you can tie this all the way down to a size 18. We're going to use a little bit of ultra wire in copper as the rib, some peacock herl for the body, a brown hen neck will be our tail and our beard hackle, and in this case I'm using a Danville's 70 denier thread. Very, very simple pattern. Go ahead and set that hook up in the vise. Lay down a simple thread base. This pattern is a lot of fun to fish. I think I use this probably more than any other time of the year in the springtime. I use this when I'm just kind of poking around to find out what the fish are up to. And I like to put this on if I'm fishing a pair of flies. I'll put this and then I'll drop something smaller off the back of it and fish these down and across. It's kind of a lead wing coachman without the wing is really a good way to think of it. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this hen hackle, just some of the barbules, and create the tail for this fly. I want the tail probably about half the body length. And I captured that just a little bit up front there. Clip off the excess that I don't need. That'll never come out. Beautiful. Now go ahead and tie in a short piece of the copper wire for the rib. And then I like to use 3 or 4, maybe 5 peacock herls, depending upon how thick they are. One of the things I do is I always clip off the ends because those are usually pretty brittle. I'll capture them right up at the tip and wind to the back. Advance my thread back up to the head. Now take the peacock herls, form a thin rope, twist them together gently. If you twist these too hard, they're going to split right down the center. So twist them gently, and that forms a really nice little herl. And it's like winding on a chenille. You get a nice iridescent green. And by the way, if you want to make this more of a bronzed color, you can leave your peacock herls on the windowsill out in the sun, and they'll become a beautiful bronzed color, which is the color this pattern was originally designed to be tied in. But regular green peacock herl works beautifully. Wrap that forward and tie that off, giving myself plenty of space behind the hook eye. I don't want to crowd things up there for that simple little beard hackle. Now, the rib, I'm using a very fine copper wire. I'm going to counter rib this, which means that I'm going to wind the rib back towards me. The reason I'm going to do that is it's going to compress that peacock herl and keep that from ever splitting or coming apart. This is really a very, very tough fly. And that little bit of copper actually adds just a little bit of weight along with the heavy wire wet fly hook. So this sinks pretty good. It's streamlined, it gets down quite nicely, and fishes really well if you need to get down into that bottom layer of water, as we often do in the springtime. Don't discount this one for smallmouth bass during that critical post-spawn period as well. Now, once again, a little bit more of this hackle. Strip that off for the little beard that we're going to tie on the bottom of it. That's a little too much. There we go. Now, the way that I've seen this fly tied in the past, the beard is usually pretty long and it goes to about the edge of the body, and that's just the way I tie it. It doesn't really matter if you make it a little longer or a little shorter. I'm sure that the fish aren't going to send home any grades on this one. Wind that on with 2 or 3 twists of thread to hold that in place. Clip off the excess material. Now, wind a neat thread head. I like the head on this fly just to be a little bit larger than normal. Here's something that I've found out about this fly. And for those of you who are steelhead fishers who are going to be going out this fall, I've been told, my sources have told me that this fly has been just absolutely a killer steelhead pattern on a lot of the steelhead alley waters where we're fishing small nymphs. So if you're going up to the Conneaut, if you're going up to the Rocky, if you're going up to any of those Lake Erie tribs, this might be a pattern that's worth having in your fly book. I've heard a lot of wonderful things, and that little spot of red adds just enough color. Great low clear water kind of a pattern. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of head cement on there. Keep a beautiful glossy head on that. And there you have it, the Diawl Bach, the little devil. A Gaelic pattern, come to the United States, trout, panfish, warm water, cold water, and don't forget to try this one for steelhead. What a great little pattern. You can fill up a whole fly box with these, even try some different colors on this. So this is a great little pattern to work from. Thanks for joining us on Adventures in Fly Tying. Tight lines.